a 21-year-old living with cerebral palsy. And if you haven't upon this video, you are probably thinking or willing to be attending DLRD, Disability Rights Legislators Day, in Madison City, Missouri. And maybe you're not, and haven't upon this video anyway. And maybe you're planning to talk or write to your local state legislators. If that is the thing, me and my dad, who does persuasive letter writing, right?
Persuasive. I do a lot of communications to people in power and executives. So I teach courses on how to develop presentations, how to develop communications. So Anna thought she could bring me in just to add some thoughts to how you might approach writing a letter to a legislator for this event, right?
Right.
Yep.
Or maybe you're not going to the event and upon the
Yeah, or maybe it'll help you if you're writing a persuasive letter to anybody, or a letter kind of telling your story to whomever.
Yeah. How I personally, for part of the work that I do as a professional advocate in my local area, sometimes involve talking to legislators at certain events, and I completely understand sometimes it can be very hard to make your work out without wondering if they will understand you, because I feel like only people closest to me or people who had a lot of time around me do it in my face. So I know that sometimes it can be intimidating to talk in front of people. So if that is you, writing your story in letter form is an awesome way to make your voice heard and to make you included in this event. You can mail the letter. You can mail the letter to your legislator in advance, or you can bring it to the Disability Legislators Day and hand it to a local legislator after making an appointment.
Yep. So it's like a leave behind. So if you feel like you don't want to, or you can't, or even if you do want to talk to the legislator and tell them your story or talk to them about it, whether you talk or not, the letter is sort of a way to leave the story with him or her, which I think is a great thing. And as Anna said, you could send it ahead of time, and you could kind of tell your story, make your point to them, whatever it is, whether you're advocating for a particular piece of legislation, telling your personal story, and maybe letting that person know, hey, I'm going to be at this event. I really look forward to meeting you. And then it puts a little bit of pressure on them to be there and to meet you and all that. So it's a good thing to set expectations if you want to set it ahead of time, or as Anna said, you could just bring it with you, and it could be a leave behind, or it could be instead of you trying to verbalize your story if you're unable or would rather not, or if you're uncomfortable doing that.
Yeah, because another thing that I do know is that these appointments are oftentimes not very long. And the amount of people that want to talk to such an important person in power, so it's another way to be sure that you're not overworked.
Yeah, that's a great point, because some of these people it's amazing how busy some of them are. I know because I used to work with some people in the White House when I worked at a company in Boston, and we were trying to get an appointment with the Vice President of the United States at the time, which is pretty crazy. And they schedule his time in 10-minute increments throughout the day. 10 minutes. It wasn't like half hour here, hour there. It was like you have 10 minutes and that's it with that person. And then the next 10 minutes is scheduled with somebody else. That's how quickly they are used to dealing with subjects and moving on, because they just have so much to do. Now, local legislators may not be quite that level, but if there's a lot of people like yourself that are going to be at the event, the legislator can only spend so much time with each person. So that's another great reason that you may not have time to tell your whole story, but at least you can meet the person make them remember you. And then if you hand them a letter or something that really tells the story, they can take it home and read it in their leisure, and it'll really make more of an impact if you can get something like that. Yep.
Definitely. How you want the medal, and I'll put a 10-point a medal that a medal 10-point down in the video description, so you know exactly how to write a medal. But the first thing you want to do is find out who you are addressing it to.
Mm-hmm.
Dear, and then the legislator's name.
Yeah. And at the top, you usually put the legislator's name. There's formal title and their mailing address,
right.
At the top, and then dear, whatever. Yeah. And then, did you also want to talk? What's also important is before you start writing, make sure you're clear on what your objective is.
Right.
So you know who your audience is, and you got to think about: are you trying to tell them? Are you trying to persuade them to support a piece of legislation, or is your letter mainly to say, hey, I'm going to be at this event and I'd like to meet you? Or maybe it's a little bit of both, but just be clear, like, what is it I want the person to walk away with after they've read this letter? And that helps you guide you on your message. Yeah.
Right. And also, I only put, if this applies to you, I put the organization that I'm coming with, or the organization that I'm writing for. Some of you may be writing on behalf of your whole entire people
first, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, multiple people or sending their vice president or president a representation of their advocacy.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's you might want to consider messaging the organization that you are or representing.
Yep.
And then your name and your disability, or however you want to address that.
Mm-hmm. And I think that in terms of the message itself, you can keep it really simple, because I think here's a couple things you want to be careful not to do. You don't want to spend 3 paragraphs giving them all about your background and all that, because they need to know like why you're writing them up front. So it could be in the subject line, or in the first sentence or two, you need to say, hey, my name is Anna Montaldo, and I'm writing you because I want you to support this such and such.
Handicap parking. Handicap parking, and don't take them away for curbside pickup.
Yeah. So that's important, I think, to say up front. Why are you writing them? Then they can get their head. They're like, okay, this is a person who wants me to do this. So you say that first, and you say, I am a person, who lives with cerebral palsy, and it impacts me personally because, and you can kind of explain, why it's important to you. So if you say all that stuff up front, and maybe in the first paragraph, then the legislator knows, okay, I get why this person cares about this. I know what they're asking me to do. And then maybe in the following paragraphs, or however much you want to write, and it doesn't have to be a long letter. It could be 1 paragraph. It doesn't have to be long. But if you want to tell more of your story, then you could do that after you're clear on that first part. Then you could say, I grew up. You could tell how anything you want to do about your background, or why you're unusual or special, or why you might have a good point of view on this legislation or whatever. So. Yeah, it's just don't tell too much detail before you tell them exactly why you're writing, and why you have something to say about it. How would you know?
And also, my 10-point that I am including down in the video description will include, will be very basic, a matter that my people will be sending to all the legislators, reminding the importance of not making handicap curbside pickup places.
Oh, turning handicap parking space into curbside?
Yeah, because
is that a problem?
I see that all the time. I'm just common.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So that before you have background that level.
Yeah. And are most people writing this because of a particular piece of legislation, or is it more advocacy of general stuff?
Both.
Okay.
It be both.
Okay.
And I'm sure that your advocacy group that you will be coming with will be talking about certain legislation that you might be able to address.
Yeah. And they can put that into put that into template. So your template's like a Word document or something, and you'll be able to just take that Word document and just start, save it and start typing in there. It'll be real clear on, where you put your personalized parts into it. So hopefully it's easy to use, and it's great to have your voice heard. So hope you do it.
Yeah, and I just believe that right medicine today is recommend more her.
March 1st?
Yep.
March 1st.
2020, well, we are the same. At the Capitol in the city memory.
Cool.
So, hope to see you all there, and thanks for watching this video.
Bye. And don't be jealous of my Columbo shirt. Everybody is, but it's okay.
Oh. Well.
All right, see ya.
All right. Bye.
Bye.